Okay, now let's start with the charging section of income tax. Section 4 is known as a backbone of income tax. It's a core section out of which all the sections of income tax have emerged. Okay, so it is a source of all the possible provisions of income tax. In depth, okay, you have to go in, like each word here is like a golden word and it can be discussed for hours and hours. So total income, please understand what is written here. The charge is created on total income. Levy means charge, ambit, scope. Lot of words can be given to the section 4. It actually tells you what exactly is taxable in India under Income Tax Act 1961. So they say not salary income, not house property income, not business income, total income. Total income of the assessee earned by a person, earned by a person. Person means, so person can be individual, person can be HUF, person can be AOP, person can be BOI, person can be company, firm, local authority. So total income earned by a person in a previous year, and for you previous year is April 20 to March 21. Usually there are exceptions, but April 20 to March 21, a financial year which is just in date now, and we are going to compute tax of that particular financial year in the current year, and current year is known as assessment year 21-22. While writing examination, you are sitting in the assessment year 21-22, but you are not computing income for or income tax for 21-22. You are computing income tax for financial year 2021, which was a difficult year for everyone, and current year is also difficult for everyone. So total income earned by a person in a previous year shall be assessed in an assessment year at a tax rates prevailing in Annual Finance Act, and Annual Finance Act for the current assessment year or assessment year 21-22 is 20. Okay, budget 20 is applicable, not budget 21. Budget 21 is not applicable, so never ask any amendment to me from budget 21 so far as examination is concerned. Okay, so let's try to understand each word which is used here. So income, so what do you mean by income? Income is a very generic term, and in income tax, income, the definition of income is too wide. It is never ending definition. It is almost a 6-page definition, and that too it is inclusive definition. That means income tax doesn't say only this 6-page is a list of the incomes which are possibly can be taxed in income tax law. No, they are just saying these are the illustrative list, and therefore I am not teaching you definition of income here. Let's not waste that time here. Let's save that time. Section 224 gives inclusive list of definition. It's inclusive list of definition. That means it is not exhaustive list. It is just a suggestive list. Okay, this is income, this is also income, that is also income. Something which is beyond imagination is also income, that you will learn in heads of income. Here, you should also understand two terminologies that we always use in income tax. Income forms part of total income, and income which do not form or which does not form part of total income. Please understand, incomes which does not form part of income, which does not form part of total income, and income which forms part of total income. There are two types of income that we are going to discuss in whole income tax. Income which forms part of total income, income which does not form part of total income. Something which forms part of total income is obviously chargeable according to section 4. Something which does not form part of total income is obviously not taxable, and not taxable term in income tax is used as an exempt income. Something which is exempt is not taxable. So what is the name of this particular section? Section 10, income which do not form part, incomes which do not form part of total income is the name of the chapter. So please remember that. We also call it exempt income. Exempt income is non-taxable income. Few example here: Indian agriculture income under section 10(1), share of profit from a HUF, because HUF is already taxable, so members should not be taxed on the same income again. Share of income from the, or share of profit from the firm. Firm has already paid tax, so partners should not pay tax. There should not be double taxation. Therefore, a share of profit from a firm in the hands of partner is exempt. Whenever we talk about exempt, there won't be any tax on this particular incomes. No tax. It is a bumper offer. Whatever income belongs to section 10 is not taxable, but whatever is forming part of total income will be there as per the scope of total income. And as per scope of total income, there are two possibilities of income. Either there will be an Indian income or there will be a foreign income. This we will discuss in scope of total income chapter, which is chapter 2, according to the basic concepts. Yeah. Here, the second thing is this person. Please understand, in income tax, you are also a person, I am also a person. You are also an individual, I am also an individual, but you are not an assessee, but I am the assessee. So what is the difference between you and me? You don't pay tax and I pay tax. So please understand, definition of person is also important because charge is created on the person. Here, the definition of person is also an inclusive definition, which includes individual, Hindu undivided family, association of person and body of individual, firm, and firm includes LLP, company, local authority, and somebody who is not covered here will be covered in the artificial juridical person. So artificial juridical person is the residual list. It is like etc that you put after every sentence. So here every person can be covered which is not already covered in above list. So sir, Hindu deity or Hindu temples, do they earn income? Shirdi Sai Baba Samsthan or Lal Bagh Ka Raja or your Siddhivinayak Ganesha, do they earn income? Answer is yes. Are they individual? No. Is it HUF? No. Is it AOPBI? No. Is it firm, LLP? No. Company? No. Local authority? No. Then under what category we are going to charge tax on them? So we are going to charge tax on them under the artificial juridical category. Normally they are not person. Artificially and juridically, artificially means they are not real person, they are artificial. Juridical means by law they are person. With a normalized, they are god, they are like a piece of stone, whatever it is, with a normalized. But from the juridical perspective, they are also a person because they are earning the income. Okay. Sometimes animal also are covered here. Okay, if you are having a dog who's acting in movies, so the dog is very famous, celebrity dog. And if a dog is earning income, you cannot say, I will not pay tax. If you want to recover tax, you recover tax from the dog. You have to take the Aadhaar card of a dog and you have to take PAN card of a dog. That is not possible. Obviously, a owner of a dog will represent a dog and he has to pay the tax. But a dog can be called as an artificial juridical person for the purpose of income tax law. Definition of previous year for you is previous year 2021. Previous year means a financial year. We can never have a calendar year. In income tax law, you cannot have January to December as a financial year. In income tax law, always and always your year has to be a financial year, meaning thereby it should always end on 31st March. It means financial year immediately preceding the assessment year. Then what do you mean by assessment year, sir? Assessment year means a period of 12 months commencing from 1st April every year. And therefore, for you, the assessment year has already begun on 1st April 2021 and it will end on 31st March 2022. Before that, I wish and I bless all of you that you will become professional in assessment year 21-22 and we will celebrate your success in this particular assessment year. Okay, I want you people to be professional. At least majority of you should become professional in assessment year 21-22. You deserve that. You have to fight for it. We are going through a lot of challenging period, but still we are studying, still you are preparing. And therefore I say you deserve the success. You should get that particular success. Yeah. So this financial year and this assessment year should be memorable one. We have to make it a markable year in our life, in our career growth. Till now, your growth was happening like this. From here onward, your growth should happen like this. Okay. So this kind of growth is possible only and only when you are a professional assessee or only and only when you are a professional candidate. So you are saying assessment year will be a period of 12 months. What about previous year? That is also a year. No, it can be a period of 12 months. Yes, usually it is also a period of 12 months, April to March. But in some cases, in exceptional cases, like in your case, it's like by the end of this particular financial year, you got some business idea. On 1st Feb, you wanted to start certain business. First Feb 2022, you got some idea. 1st Feb 2022 to 31st March 2022, your assessment year will be only 2 months. Feb and March, only 2 months can be your previous year. Please understand, it can be your previous year because you are starting a new business or a new source of income during the previous year. Usually for an existing assessee, a previous year is a period of 12 months. So for normal people, it will start from 1st April, it will end on the 31st March. But exceptionally in 2 cases, for the new business And for the new source of income, exceptionally, the previous year period will start from date of commencement to 31st March. So if you have started business on 26th March to 31st March, whatever business you have done of this in this 5-6 days, you have to show it to income tax department. Please understand, a previous year can be a period of less than 12 months, but assessment year by default will be a period of 12 months. That's a difference. Sir, what about year of tax? When do we pay tax? Okay, so whatever you are earning in previous year 2021, you have to assess that particular income in 21-22. So earn in a previous year, assess in a assessment year. This is the normal law. Normal rate of income tax earn in a previous year shall be assessed in the assessment year. Earn in PY, assessed in AY. Earn in PY, assessed in AY. This is the normal law. But for exceptional cases, and there are 5 exceptional cases that you have to remember, you must remember, because one of this is the shipping business of non-resident, and at a final level, a non-resident taxation is one of the most important taxation. So income earned in a previous year shall be assessed in a previous year itself. That means income tax department will not wait for assessment year to come. Income tax department will compute your tax in the previous year itself. Just to give you brief idea, obviously we are going to discuss section 172 in detail when we go to the NR taxation, but just to give you brief idea, allow me to give you one simple example. This is our India, okay, and one vessel of NR taxation has come to Chennai port. This vessel belongs to NR, non-resident, and this non-resident has loaded 4 containers from India, okay, 4 containers from India on his vessel. 4 containers are loaded by NR from India to his vessel. Obviously, income is derived in India. Income accrues in India, and therefore it is taxable. Income accrues in India, therefore it is taxable in India. First of all, do you understand this? Why NR is liable to pay tax in India? Hello? Because this income has accrued in India. Even if you are NR, you have to pay tax on this particular income. Is it clear? Why NR is liable to pay tax? Taxable even for NR. Hello, is it clear? This sentence? Scope of total income. Indian resident has to pay tax on global income, and a non-resident has to pay tax on Indian income. This is what we have discussed. Come on, please tell me. Do you understand this, or should I explain you this? Thank you, Tai. Thank you. Okay. So this is taxable. Now this NR is promising you, okay, this is the previous year. No, I will come in assessment year and I'll pay tax in assessment year. But we don't trust this NR. We don't trust our Indian people that they may pay or they may not pay tax in assessment year. But at least these people in India, income tax can take some recovery steps, and income tax can recover some amount of tax. This NR, once he left India, we never know whether he will pay the tax or he will not pay tax. So what we do, before leaving India, he has to take TCR from income tax department, tax clearance certificate. Sorry, tax clearance certificate. Okay, TCC, tax clearance certificate, that all the taxes, whatever was the liability, has been paid. Then only custom people will allow this vessel to leave Indian port, meaning thereby this person pay the tax in previous year itself. Now when he is paying tax in the previous year itself, we cannot do the total assessment. We have to take tax on presumptive basis. Okay, so in PGBP, I will tell you, in PGBP chapter, I will tell you there are special provisions of a presumptive taxation for this kind of non-resident assessors. Okay, so there are special provisions for non-resident person. We are not going to wait for assessment year to come. We are going to take tax in previous year itself. So that is shipping business of a non-resident, not Indian. Okay, person leaving India. There are some examples like Vijay Mallya, Lalit Modi, Nirav Modi. Many businessmen, they have defaulted in Indian loans, Indian tax system, and they have left India. Now they are staying in London. We know that they are staying in London, but we are still not able to recover our taxes. We are still not able to recover our loan liability that these people have taken. So if somebody is leaving India permanently and AO is feeling that this person is not going to come back to India, so AO has a right to stop the assessee on airport itself and do the assessment. Okay, that's the power of AO. Secondly, AOP BOI form for an object, we call it joint venture. Before dissolving joint venture, before dissolving any partnership, you have to pay taxes and then only you can dissolve your joint venture. Secondly, section 175, person who transfers the property to avoid tax. Sometimes income tax department start proceeding against person and that person comes to know now there is no exit route. They will income tax department recover tax from me pakka. So in that particular situation, a person out of panic, he will just try to transfer his property on his, uncle's name or friend's name or employee's name, and he will file insolvency certificate. He will say, I'm insolvent now. I don't have anything with me. So if income tax department identify if somebody is transferring property just to avoid tax, they're not going to wait for time to come, right time to come. They are going to execute action immediately. And then next one is the discontinued business. Any kind of business before discontinued liquidation or dissolution, before discontinue your business, you have to pay income tax liability and then only you can shut down your business. Yeah. So these are the 5 examples where income tax department will not wait for 21-22 to come. They will recover tax in 2021 itself. On real time basis, they are going to recover the taxes. So what do you mean by assess? Assess means computation, and computation means what's the computation of tax. To compute tax, you need to have 2 factors. Total income and tax rate. Total income and tax rate. Just now I have taught you how to compute tax, but I have not taught you how to compute total income. That takes substantial amount of time, not less than 60 to 80 hours. It is going to take 60 to 80 hours to teach you how to compute total income. Then there is a definition of assessee. So what do you mean by assessee? Assessee means any person by whom any tax is payable under this act. Who is assessee? A person who is liable to pay any tax. Sir, only tax? No. Any other sum also. Okay, any other sum of money. Now, what do you mean by any other sum of money? It can be interest, it can be penalty, it can be fees, it can be anything. Okay, anything other than tax. If something is payable under income tax law, then you will be called as an assessee. I always say one sentence, please remember that. All the assessees are persons, but all persons need not to be assessee. Okay. All assessees are persons, but all persons need not to be assessee. Proof is that assessee means a person. Please understand. Assessee has to be a person. One of this category that we have discussed just now. Okay. Assessee has to be a person, but all the persons need not to be assessee. You can see around you, there are so many individuals are earning income, but they are not paying tax. There are so many individuals, they are not only having income. If they don't have income, there is no point of paying taxes. Therefore, all the assessees are the persons, but all the persons need not to be an assessee. This is a sentence. Apart from that, there is an inclusion to the definition of assessee. Every person against whom the proceeding under this act is begun. If some assessment proceeding has initiated against the assessee, that is also part of the assessee. Every person who is deemed to be assessee. Okay. In income tax law, we are having original assessee and deemed to be an assessee. There are principles like section 163 and all. In our taxation, again, international taxation, where you will learn what is assessee, deemed to or assessee or deemed to be assessee. Then in TDS TCS chapters, you will understand there are persons who are called as deemed to be assessee in default. What is the difference between this and this? Here it is the deemed assessee, and here it is the deemed defaulter. Okay, assessee in default. This is for TDS and TCS chapter. Whenever that appropriate chapter comes, you will understand these 2 phrases in detail. So what do you mean by assessment? Assessment means a procedure by which an income of an assessee is determined by AO. The most important part here is assessment includes reassessment, and reassessment happens under section 147, which is also known as income escaping assessment. This you will learn in assessment procedure. Just wanted to tell you, whenever we say assessment also includes reassessment, meaning thereby if your assessment has closed for the last year, do not go home and enjoy that now income tax department will not catch me that I have earned black money in the last year. They can reassess your income. If they have already assessed, income tax department have power to reopen the case. So that power is always there with them, and that power can be exercised under 147. So what do you mean by average rate of tax? Whatever is the tax amount you have computed divided by total income into 100. So sometime in TDS chapter, we use this concept of average rate of tax. Therefore, this particular formula you should know. In TDS chapter, we will use this. So what do you mean by MMR? These are small concept of this chapter I'm taking now itself, so that in future we will be very much comfortable with all this terminology. MMR means maximum marginal rate. Maximum marginal rate means highest possible rate for the individual, highest rate applicable to individual. So highest rate applicable to individual in today's world is 30%, highest possible surcharge is 37%, and highest possible cess is 4%. So how do we compute marginal relief? So 30 plus 37% plus 4%. This is how you have to compute on Calci. 30 plus 37%, that comes to 41.1, plus 4%, that comes to 42.744%. Okay, everyone please compute MMR once with your own hand. If you get confused, then please ask. Please compute MMR. So concept number 25 is about undisclosed income, that we will cover tomorrow. Concept number 26. I hope you remember there is one section in PGBP which is section 40A subsection 3. Section 40A subsection 3 says, if you are going to incur some expenditure in relation to your business, you should always try to pay by account pay check, account pay draft, ECS, electronic clearing system, or other prescribed electronic modes. This is a sentence which is written in not only in section 40A3. Section 40A3 is the landmark section, everybody knows. If amount exceeds rupees 10,000 to a person in a day. This is also very important phrase. If amount exceed rupees 10,000 rupees to a person in a day, if you have to make payment more than 10,000 rupees, it has to be by account pay check, account pay draft, ECS, or other prescribed electronic mode. If it is other than any mode which is not prescribed here, then that expense is fully disallowed. Tum logon ko pata hai, right? Fully disallowed. Technically, we are talking about cash expenses. If you incur any cash expenses, we don't believe in that particular expenses. Therefore, that expenses will be fully disallowed. If you pay 40,000 rupees cash to somebody for business advertisement, though it is legally advertisement expenses, we will not give you deduction. Now, when we say other prescribed mode, it is not only used in this section. This language is used in many sections in income tax law. Whenever we say other prescribed mode, what do you mean by other prescribed mode in nowadays? So other prescribed modes are defined in Income Tax Law, Income Tax Act now, to include credit card, debit card, net banking, IMPS, UPI, RTGS, NEFT, BHIM, Aadhaar Pay. Okay, so this is the smallest list that you can remember. That yes, it is also prescribed mode. So debit card, credit card, net banking, IMPS, UPI, RTGS. UPI means Amazon Pay, Google Pay. All these are UPI. Okay, NEFT, BHIM, Aadhaar Pay, all these are mode which are acceptable in income tax law now. For payments more than 10,000, you should use one of this particular mode. If you are not using this mode, you are still making payment by cash, then your expenses will not be recognized by income tax department, and there are certain penal provision also that we will discuss in the penalty chapter if you don't use this prescribed mode. I hope you understood majority basic concept except this a concept of undisclosed income. Concept of undisclosed income I will be covering in tomorrow's lecture, not today's lecture. It will take a lot of time to explain you in detail. So today's job was to teach you tax rates. I have taught you tax rates, not to teach tax rate. I was not teaching you practically. I was just taking a revision because I have to assume that you know everything, but still I'm not taking any chance. I'm just trying to give you hint of the tax rates. Please revise the tax rates along with certain tax calculation. It is going to be very much helpful when I'm going to start company taxation. I'm going to start assessment of the trust, assessment of non-resident, international taxation. There you should not be confused in the tax rates, how I'm determining tax rate or how am I computing the tax amount. There we should be talking only about the concepts, not about computation. Therefore, you should practice computational of tax rate in the chapter number 1 itself. Thank you for the day. We will see you tomorrow. Tata, bye-bye.